Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Oh, welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by Chinook Seedery. This is episode 567. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
What episode?
This is episode 567.
The 567.
Stop.
6-7.
Don't do that.
I don't know what it means, but
I didn't. You could have given me 100 guesses as to what you're about to say right there. That was not it. I usually have an eye for stuff like that. I usually have an eye for stuff like that. Being chronically online, as they say. But I did not see that coming. Well played.
And you're the younger one.
Well played. Okay. Well,
you know,
by what?
You're with the youths.
4 months.
It's enough. It's enough. If you were comparing our backs, 30 years. There's a 30-year difference between our backs. You know.
Says who? What? I mean, why do you just assume that your back is worse?
I don't know.
The same age?
What are your issues? What are your issues that you're dealing with over there, guys?
General, what's that thing that Giancarlo Stanton suffers from? General soreness. That's me.
He suffers from something. I don't
general
know if it's
soreness. I think that's what was on the injury report. General soreness.
Suffers from a lying front office is what he suffers from.
Congratulations, Giancarlo. You and every other 30-year-old suffering from the same thing. We're more alike than we think. How about that? How about that? Speaking of the Yankees, let's talk about some teams that aren't really going to be much of a threat come postseason time. But more importantly,
it's a fair shot.
Well, hey, 6-7.
Yeah.
More importantly, I want to talk about the teams that
matter
are going to be a threat. Most dangerous teams, if I do say so myself. But where this conversation is going to get interesting, I think, is you're going to have two buckets here. You're going to have the bucket of here's why this team is dangerous, and then you're going to have on the flip side, here's why this team isn't dangerous. And I'm curious if there's going to be some heavy disagreement amongst us, because I was trying to collect my thoughts.
You were pulling
leading up to this, and there's a team or two where some may consider it a hot take, but I feel like I have some reasoning behind it. So I'll be curious to see where that's or conversations, plural, potentially go. But right off the top here,
get her fired up.
How do you want to do this? How do you want to do this?
You send it, guy. I'm coming in per usual.
All right, in no notes. In no particular order. The most dangerous, again, no particular order. This is we're just talking buckets here.
Okay. Dangerous bucket.
Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay.
And here's why. They have many stars, but two stars as it pertains to the postseason that they have on their team in Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber.
Heard of them.
They pretty good. They're due to heat up because they've both hit a little bit of a slide as of late. Kyle Schwarber, believe it or not, I feel, what was it, a week ago, maybe to the day, maybe 2 weeks, we were talking about, what's this MVP race really look like? And, we're throwing out reasons for and against. As of late, though, has kind of sort of reverted back to typical Kyle Schwarber stuff. Since August 10th, coming into today, he's in a $195. has 9 homers and an OPS just north of 8 at 806. Not bad. Not bad for Kyle Schwarber, but
not MVP stuff, but
not MVP
not
stuff. It gets worse when you go back to the beginning of this month. Somewhat of a small sample size, but it's gotten worse. Since September 1st, he's hitting a $156 with just 1 homer, 4 RBIs, and an OPS of 622. You combine that with the fact that Bryce Harper has cooled off a little. He, all in all, just hasn't had a Bryce Harper-esque year, in my opinion, which, truly brings a tear to my eye. Doesn't make me excited.
Mm-hmm.
But when you consider that this guy has an OPS in the postseason over 1,000, August, you can look at the splits. I was looking at him today. I think August is actually one of his better months, if not his best month.
Okay.
When you look at month-to-month splits, takes a little bit of a dip in September. But like I said, once the postseason hits, once the lights flip on, as we very well know, he can flip a switch. So all in all, I think the Phillies, combined with their pitching that we know is strong, is solid, you just have this sense that there's something brewing there. I mean, they're one of the best teams in baseball this year, no doubt. But I feel like and I've alluded to this, I feel like we're on the verge of getting vintage Phillies again this year, when really for the first few months you were starting to wonder, like, what is this Phillies team? I'm liking the identity that we're seeing with the Phillies. So very much looking forward to seeing what they can do in October.
All right, I'll wear the devil's advocate hat. How much of this skid that you're talking about with their superstars is revolved around the fact that they have a 10-game lead at the time of this recording in the division? And does the cruise control button, because let's face it, I know that we're never going to hear this from players. We're never going to hear it from anyone in the involved with the team. But if you have a 10-game lead and your eyes are focused on a deep postseason run, in my mind, there's less hard 90s. There's less stretching singles into doubles. There's less crashing into walls. There is a level of, let's not get too aggressive. We need to stay safe and kind of stock up for what we're about to go do. And that's the age-old question, right? Because we always talk about like that team that sneaks into the wild card and sneaks into the postseason and spends the last few weeks just super hot, and they seem, a lot like the Mets last year. They earned their way in, and they kept the momentum rolling through, versus a team that there's no one in the rear view. We can coast. That plays a factor. I don't care what they tell us.
Right, but it's the question of, does that benefit them in the long run, or does that hurt them? Because if you let the foot off the gas too much with under a month left,
that's what I'm saying.
Do you have enough of a runway to ramp it back up when things heat back up?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm worried about. So I understand that. I don't know if they're one of those teams where you're just like, this feels like it's too easy. Like there's something weird that's hiding in the corner, ready to pounce, kind of thing, to ruin this story. That's my devil's advocate argument.
Which bucket are you putting the Phillies in?
I mean, obviously I'm going to put them in dangerous, just because, like you talked about, like a roster that's been there, a deep rotation.
Can I jump in real quick? I'll give you a third option. I forgot to mention.
Okay.
It's really 3 options.
It makes me
the
feel
dangerous, better. It's the non-dangerous, and then it's just the teams that you're sort of lukewarm about. Because, I mean, let's face it, there are teams that are going to make it into the postseason. They're going to give them, give whoever they're up against a run for their money. But, like, on this side of things, at least, you're looking at them going, and when I say them, it could be any team, fill in the blank. You're looking at them going, yeah, they don't really move the needle, but I also don't think that they're just going to roll over once the calendar turns,
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
It's really a third bucket.
I'll still keep them in the dangerous bucket. I don't think we talk about home team advantage, and I don't think that I think it plays more of a role in certain cities than others. And with how Philly is rolling, not just in baseball, but for football as well, like there's an expectation amongst those fans, and there is a level of hype that it's like you can't really coast. You can't hit cruise control. If you're a player and you're in that stadium and you're absorbing the atmosphere, you can't help but want to show up. So I still keep them in the dangerous bucket. I worry about maybe like a little bit of a slow start to the postseason, something weird. Maybe the offense doesn't get going, but their pitching is there to like kind of hold it down. Like I wonder if that's going to be the narrative. I'm just curious on that because it's got to play a role if the last month of baseball just doesn't really mean anything to you because of the lead that you have. It's my only concern.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's how about the Blue Jays? How do we feel about the Blue Jays? Because I have them in, I've had to accept my fate. As we've mentioned, I've had to come to terms with the fact that I just need to eat crow with my stance on the Blue Jays from really the first half of this year, and even maybe into the second half. This team is legit, and this is not a team that I would necessarily want to run into in the postseason, and therefore I'm putting them in the dangerous bucket. And it really, for me at least, I say this as Kevin Gausman just goes out today and throws a CG shutout against the Stros. But for me, it really comes down to their offense. And that's even with, the news that we just got the other day, I think of Bo Bichette hitting the shelf for the 10-day. The offense still, however, is just rolling. I mean, George Springer, I don't think I realized how much of a renaissance year George Springer is having. Like
bro's just throwing it back,
career year, an absolute throwback George Springer year. Coming in to today, he's leading the team with 28 homers, got an OPS at 935, a WAR of 3.7. What's he hit? Is that 297? I mean, having an excellent year. And then, Vladdy's not exactly lighting the world on fire, but he's having a good year, good to great year, 23 homers, 890 OPS. He's got a WAR of 5. So
I got something I'll eat crow on. He's also been lights out at first. Like,
has he really? I haven't even
paid attention to his first base, dude.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
all the more reason.
Like, I'm surprised. I don't know what. Not that I'm like a huge believer in defensive metrics at the moment. Not that I'm really a believer in any metrics at the moment, but I would bet if you looked it up, it would be a lot better than what you've seen in the past for him. While you look that up, I'll agree with you. I do have them in the dangerous bucket as well. Achilles heel would probably be pitching, where and it's not necessarily so much of like recently or even this season in general, but like I think we all have this in the back of your head where there's some clunkers out there. You know what I mean? There's some clunkers that Barrios would throw out there for you. There's some clunkers with Scherzer. Like there's like little tense sometimes.
I mean, what do we legitimately?
So I mean, I wonder if that's in the back of your head. The other thing is,
sorry, the internet bugged out there for a second. Are we good? Are we good? We caught up?
I was trying to play it off for a sec. What'd you say? Yeah. I'm here. If you're there.
No, I'm kidding. No, I was just gonna say, what do we legitimately think Max Scherzer could provide us in the postseason? Because I genuinely don't know. Because I'm like, if I had to put money on it, I'm like, I think we're just gonna get a regressing Max Scherzer. But every start that he goes out, I mean, minus an off start here or there. As of late, he's just been throwing it a lot better.
I think
than what
one
we
of those,
would have expected.
I just think you see quick leashes. You know what I mean? Like I don't see him going 5, 6, 7. Like I genuinely see like
6, 7.
I genuinely see like 4 innings in the postseason for him. And it's like one of those where let's kind of like keep momentum rolling. If you give us 4 strong innings, like doesn't matter. We're going to shut you down. We're going to carry that into the next start and just like have you build off of that. Yeah, let's face it, like there is got to be a little bit of like some load management involved with him just for his age. So that's kind of how I view it. But what I was going to say, another Achilles heel and something you already brought up is the fact that like the team leader in home runs is only at 28. There's not a ton of pop that we've seen, and that has been the narrative. And obviously they're really good at everything else offensively. We've already talked about like how pesky they are. They don't strike out. They just are good on bases. They do everything right on offensively, but there isn't like a ton of pop. And we've seen postseason games just kind of flip on their head anytime a home run's hit. And it can happen. It can completely flip a series. So that would be my only concern with them. But in my mind, if you close your eyes and you picture your favorite team being in the postseason, NL or AL, just kind of take the scenario out of it. Do you want to face the Blue Jays? I don't. So that means they're dangerous. I'm putting them in that bucket all day.
Imagine where this team would be with Anthony Santander of 2024.
Oh, yeah. You forget he's there. I genuinely forget that he's there. And
yeah, been on the shelf, been a non-factor. Like, just imagine it would help solve the issue that you're talking about, the void of little to no pop. And we mentioned I mentioned the George Springer year, or the year that George Springer's having. And it's like, I'm looking at that in a vacuum. It's like, take out the fact that he's the team leader. I'm just looking at the George Springer year and be like, that's incredible at this stage of his career. But to your point, if that's the best you're getting in terms of pop, that causes some or raises some questions.
Yeah.
All in all, though, think we're in agreement. Still wouldn't want to run into that team. Tell me if you disagree or agree. Feel like I know where you're going to go with this. Milwaukee Brewers.
Dangerous.
Dangerous. And
they're doing their thing, man.
The primary talking point here with the Brewers is, as we very well know, they're pitching. They've got the second best ERA in all of baseball. And these two things are, to me, are important in terms of what they're bringing to the table from the pitching side of things. 7th best whip in all of baseball, team whip, which tells me that once October hits, that they're going to continue being as good as they've been, or one can assume they're going to continue being as good as they've been this year, limiting traffic in high leverage games, high leverage innings. You cannot let your foot off the gas whatsoever in the postseason, because as we've seen, even in recent years, you let 2 guys get on, the game can get out of hand real fast. So the fact that the Brewers are very good at limiting that, I think, and having home field advantage, I think is going to pay dividends for that team. Really,
I would agree. I kind of want to see. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I had one more note. Adding on to that, another thing that I think is important is they have the fourth most strikeouts in all of baseball. So really, it's not like we're just kind of pitching to contact, which could be a detriment in the postseason. If you're a strikeout heavy team, you're really bringing to the table, hey, our best stuff versus your best stuff. Let's see what happens. And the Brewers have proven, as we knock on the door of October, that they have been able to do that.
Yeah.
For the duration of the season and do it well.
Similar story on the pop side of things. That's what I was looking up. They ranked 20th in baseball in home runs. 11th in OPS. So very similar. What's it? Arch type, or however you say it, archetype with the Blue Jays. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where like it's crazy to me that they're an 89 win team at the moment and they're still like flying under the radar in a way. It's very odd. I know it's the way of the Brewers. That's just kind of how it goes. But this has got to be the best Brewers team we've seen in a while, right? Like,
well, I mean, what I just got done talking about with the pitching, like that's really the driving force here with this team. But it's like Freddie Peralta and then who else? Yeah. And I don't mean that like in a derogatory way, but it just in terms of name recognition.
Yeah.
You're getting quality starts from guys that
Brandon Woodruff in there
aren't really household names. Brandon Woodruff, but like Jose Quintana, Quinn Priester, Chad Patrick. I mean, these are all guys with like mid to slightly above mid 3.5, 3.8 ERAs that we're talking about here. Jacob Mizorowski has definitely scuffled for sure. But you have the depth, so it's not just like it's Freddie Peralta and then a bunch of we'll have to fill in the gaps. You're getting strong outings from a number of guys, and that can obviously do wonders in the postseason. So
I think it's one of those things where like I don't know, like a lack of knowledge of who they are and how they go about it makes them dangerous in a way. It's like they're a mysterious team where because their lack of stardom, there isn't like this like, oh, we need to scout against a Bryce Harper. We need to scout against Ohtani. Like there's no one that like really just is like, look out. It's just a whole team of solid baseball.
It's an old school brand of baseball, and it's refreshing.
It really is, dude. It is. They're gonna be cool to watch. I'm excited to see them like on a national scale and like doing it in the postseason and see what they're really about. I hope they don't shy away.
Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but two of the most exciting or the teams I'm most excited to watch in the playoffs are the Brewers and the Blue Jays. Two teams that I think you and I both, for I don't know how many years have just been like kind of meh about.
No disrespect.
This time of year
on my radar.
No disrespect. The Mets. I pose you the question of how you feel about the Mets with the very real caveat that they might not even make the playoffs.
Yeah, dude.
Like we're looking at a potential situation where the New York Mets, who have gotten plenty of the limelight this year, are not playing postseason baseball. And that's wild to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a surprise when you look at their pitching situation, as we've documented, which is a reason that I have them as being one of the least dangerous contenders as it stands right now, because, you have Juan Soto, you got Frankie Lindor, you got Pete Alonso, but we say it all the time, pitching wins in the postseason. And this isn't just we're not talking about a scenario where it's like, oh, you got like some options that could work. You have nothing on that side of the ball, New York Mets. That's nothing.
Right. Like look at the road that they have to go through. You have to go through a Phillies staff. You have to go through a Brewers staff. Like, I understand you can have an incredible offense and like that can hide some holes at times, but not this kind of hole. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like you look up and down the staff, and I think it was a week ago that we were talking about this. Nolan McLean could possibly be your game one starter if you do make it in, which is baffling. And like I said, when we were breaking down, a reason that each contender could win it all, had to come to bat for the Mets because that's just the theme of what the episode was. But I don't believe in the Mets really at all right now. But I mentioned Jonah Tong. He could be an X factor for you, but that's not the basket you want to put all your eggs in. It can't be Nolan McLean.
No idea who they are.
No. I mean, I think you have a better idea of what Nolan McLean can provide you. I don't know if we've seen a full-ish picture from Jonah Tong, but the other names that I was going to mention that I shed some light on last time we talked Mets, Kodai Senga, who obviously got optioned, David Peterson, and Sean Manaea, all three of them have somewhere between like a 5 or 6 plus ERA since the break. So you don't have a leg to stand on. You really don't. And you can try to bludgeon teams to death offensively, I guess, but that
only lasts so long.
That's what I'm saying. These, especially once we get to 7-game series, if you can somehow skate through these early couple series, okay, but like you're not going to be hit. That's just not how things work in the postseason. Like your hitters are not going to be able to string together 6, 7, 8, 9 runs every game. So
not in cold New York.
I'm not holding out hope for the Mets. Sorry.
Me neither.
This could be a little controversial, although maybe not. How do we feel about the Cubs?
Lukewarm.
Okay. Well, I kind of have them in just like the not dangerous bucket, if we're being honest.
Sure. I'm closer. Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm closer to them being lukewarm,
not a threat,
and in the not dangerous than anywhere near the lukewarm to dangerous side.
Yeah, so that you have them. Sense. Yeah, I got you. You have them in the lukewarm bucket, but you've got them kind of crawling to the top, propping themselves up, ready to plunge into the
yeah.
Not a dangerous contender bucket.
They're reaching into that bucket and testing the temperature of
kind
that
of dipping
water.
Their toes a little bit. They go, "Oh, I kind of like that."
Right, and they're like, I could do it.
I could. Don't test me. I will.
If I have to watch another Bears game, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go all the way in this bucket.
For me, the biggest issue as it pertains to the Cubs, and real quick, I'm just going to go ahead and point this out. I'm going to shatter the glass for you. I say as it pertains a lot now, so I apologize. So, hold me accountable. If I'm just dropping it as it pertains to, every.
It is a bit of a flex. I'm
overusing it. So hold me accountable. If it gets carried away.
I don't even know the right time to use the phrase. Is it a term? Is it a phrase? Is it a prefix? Prefix?
Prefix. That's a new one.
Suffix? Is that a thing?
Yes.
What's
suffix
that one?
And prefix and suffix. Yeah. That's it.
I think I confused prefix with preface. They just got
nailed it.
The beginning of a book, right? Sometimes.
Well, it can be used as a verb. Let me preface my point by saying this. Yeah, it can be used as a verb.
Right.
But yeah, books as well.
I'm a big reader, clearly.
I'm not. I know. I'll go ahead and say I'm not. However, I'll just use it this last time because I had started the sentence. So let me just get it out of the way. As it pertains to the Cubs, my question is for the Chicago Cubs: where's the star power? Where's the star power? You've got stars, but we're not getting anything from them. I saw a tweet today, and I updated it because I think it was from Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. So I've updated it from July 19th to today. This is regarding homers. Pete Crow Armstrong had 26 homers on July 19th. July 19th. Today, 28. He went from 26 to 28 from July 19th to today. Kyle Tucker, 18 homers on July 19th to 22 homers today. Seiya Suzuki, 26 homers on July 19th to 27. So between Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, Seiya Suzuki, we're looking at, from July 19th to today, a combined 7 home runs.
Ugh.
And that's not even, I mean, you're just scratching the surface really when you look at that. But collectively, the Cubs are sliding. And I was looking at the standings today, and I was like, where did the race for the Central go?
Yeah.
It's 5.5 games. Brewers pretty much have it all but locked up at this point.
It is such a weird time of year because you go from like dog days, and then you're just like, oh, I haven't checked the standings in like a week. Let me look. And there's just massive, massive shifts.
Chaos.
Just crazy, crazy shifts. So they will host a wild card game, or a series, I should say. They'll host the wild card series if this position stays. If you want to write me down for a receipt, if you're in the mood.
Oh, I love when you.
If you're mood to keep. I
love when you preface a point with that.
When you prefix a point with the receipt, it's nice. So I will give them. The Cubs will only have one postseason win, and it's credited to the fact that Anthony Rizzo is throwing out the first pitch at some point. There you go. That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
They're only getting one win. Say it again.
They're getting one postseason win this year. That's it. And it's because Anthony Rizzo's thrown out the first pitch.
That's a quote card. I love that. Can't wait to drop that one.
Because the Padres are going to go in and roll through, dude. Like I don't care about how things are lined up in the standings at the moment. Like I might have talked myself into not dangerous. I'm not even lukewarm anymore. They're not dangerous.
You're welcome. I'm glad I got you to this point. Yeah, I mean, as it stands right now, if things were to hold, we're looking at a Dodgers Mets, or excuse me, you said they would host a series, wildcard series against the Padres, correct?
Yes. So
and then the Dodgers and the Mets.
Correct, because the Dodgers are obviously the worst division winner currently.
Yeah. So, yeah, it goes back to what you said earlier. It's like the road in the National League is it's just gonna be.
It's too tough.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be appointment television. I'll tell you that.
Great TV for sure.
But yeah, it's with the way the Cubs have just sort of fallen off a cliff. And especially, I really wanted to say as it pertains.
Yeah, you did.
As it relates to the Central, even like forget a good
enough change. It's too close. That's a cousin to as it pertains. In relation to
regarding
I feel better.
Regarding the National League Central, even like forget the whole National League picture as a whole, or even the postseason picture for the whole league. In terms of National League Central teams I'm excited about, we just got done talking about like the Brewers at this point. I'm like, yeah, if I got to pull a team out of the Central between those, and you could even throw the Reds into the mix, obviously, because they're sort of just lingering. They're sort of just,
currently tied.
They're like a little
San Francisco Giants, only 2 games back.
The Reds are like a little buoy out in the ocean. They're just kind of like, we're here. Don't forget about us.
Yo, the Mets have lost 5 straight, 3-7 in their last 10. They might not be in it. Yeah, the NL, very top heavy. They're bobbing.
We're bobbing.
Yep.
We're not making any sudden, quick movements, but we're here. Or we're not really going anywhere, but keep an eye out for us. That's kind of what the Reds are. So, yeah, sorry, little NL Central tangent there. Cubs, though, not all that excited about. Another team that I'm really losing steam on.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
I would love you to take a guess.
You want to say it at the same time? 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I'll count us down here. 3, 2. No, you count us down.
3, 2, 1. Houston
Tigers.
Astros.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. What's interesting is I was on the fence about. I was sort of like, okay, I want to slot like another team in here. Who do I want to go with? And I was deciding between the Tigers and the Astros. But my head immediately went for the Astros. I'm like, how much of the Framber Valdez thing is going to linger? How much of that has maybe soured the clubhouse, and how much of that is going to, if at all, carry into the playoffs? And I'm like, I immediately had to dismiss that because I'm like, I gotta think with guys like Correa, Altuve in there, that's I would venture to say that's sort of been cleaned up. Conversations I'm sure have been had. And so because that's where my head immediately went and I had to sort of dismiss it, I'm like, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. So I'll just leave the Astros be. And for me, I've kind of got them in the middle. I'm not going to be so aggressive as to put them in the not a threat, not a dangerous threat contender situation. But for me, it was the Tigers. Tell me why you're feeling this way about the Astros, though.
Straight vibes, dog. Not even just shooting from the hip here. Just going off of the way I feel, the way I see it.
Which I respect. But tell me this. Does it not get to this time every year? And when it gets to October, we're having the same conversation every year where it's like, well, the Astros are just going to do what the Astros do. Why is this year different? Because I feel like even this season, you've made the point of like, well, I'm not gonna say this or that about Houston because inevitably they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
I hear you. I guess. I mean, I think they're better than the Cubs. So I'm not gonna go full on not dangerous. I'm just going lukewarm. And everybody's a little bit older. The only things that are keeping them out of the not dangerous bucket for me is probably their staff. Like Hunter Brown has had a fantastic year. Framber is good for some postseason starts, even though he's kind of been up and down this year. So like there's still some vets there, but like I don't know, the offense just doesn't do it for me. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. That's the end of my book report. Suffix.
Excellent preface with that
Thanks.
book report. For me, Tigers, I'm putting them, well, full transparency here. The lukewarm bucket that I mentioned in the beginning, that was sort of last minute thrown into the mix. Like, okay, like let's make it fair here. We don't have to pigeonhole ourselves one way or another. But for me, when I was pulling my team list of teams together, I had only put them in one or the other. When I was doing this, I wasn't looking at through the lens of having a third option. So for me, I've got the Tigers in the not a dangerous threat category.
Interesting.
And I've talked about it a lot already. Pitching.
Yeah.
And honestly, okay, how many wins do they have? Like, what are we looking at with the Tigers here? 84,
84 and 62.
84 win team. They're what? The best team in the American League.
Tied with the Blue Jays.
Tied with the Jays. So we'll just say best team in the American League. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how they're doing it. Because it doesn't like you don't have to get all too deep into advanced analytics to come to the realization that they don't, on either side of the ball, they're not really lighting things up. They're really not lighting the charts up because really, from a pitching side of things, you look at Tarek Skubal. After Tarek Skubal, what do you got? I think your next best option is Casey Mize because Jack Flaherty has been booty this year, pitching to a tune of 4.69. Casey Mize at a 3.83 they've only got 3 guys over 100 innings. And Casey Mize is at 131. But
you know what's one of those really telling stats?
That's not going to play in the postseason.
And I mentioned this when we were going through teams last episode. I'm looking at the 1-run games, that column specifically, how the records in 1-run games. The Detroit Tigers are 20-9. The next closest team in the loss column are the Houston Astros at 16 losses, it looks like. Majority of the league is, 500 or worse when it comes to 1-run games.
You're saying you meant 16 wins for the Astros?
16 loss in the loss column. The Houston Astros are 26 and 16 in 1-run games. I'm just saying that I'm trying to look at the losses because I'm just looking at the category in general. Because if that flips and they're 9-20, we're not even talking about the Tigers right now. You know what I mean? And I know we can kind of cherry pick stats in any way, but that to me is very, are you really good in those moments? Or are we kind of counting some of these as lucky? Who are you? Because there's going to be 1-run games in the postseason. There's obviously going to be close matchups. Yeah. And I think knowing that in your head of hey, we're good in these scenarios, I think makes a difference. But it just makes you wonder that if that's reversed, we're 1-run difference from being a not very good team. You know what I'm saying? Or
even being talked about, like you said.
Yeah.
And not to play homer, but the same could go for a team like the Red Sox, who at least in the first half, were abysmal in 1-run games and blown saves, this, that, and the third. If they were even 500 in those situations, I'm not even saying 1-run games. I'm just saying late inning games, where they're just sort of hanging around. We're talking about the best team, a runaway best team in the American League, because you're only right now, the Red Sox are 3 games off the pace in the American League with all of those first half choke jobs. If like I said, if you're even 500 in those situations, you're running away with the American League. But to your point, it's, I'm going to lean towards saying the good teams do win those games more often than not. So, credit to them. But that's
what
point,
I'm saying. It's a weird stat where you're you could, I'm on the fence about it. I don't know.
Well, offensively, when you talk about their ability to score runs, another situation where it's like I don't know how they're doing what they're doing, because they have one qualified hitter. I looked up today. One qualified hitter with an OPS over 800, and that's Riley Green, who's having an exceptional year. 33 homers, especially in that, playing at that ballpark. 33 homers, sitting 268, 107 RBIs on the year. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. The only other guy that's, in the 800 conversation is Kerry Carpenter, but, as an unqualified hitter, who also has 24 homers. So like they've got some good pop, but if Riley Green, no disrespect, but if Riley Green, we're talking about star power in the postseason. If Riley Green is the guy that's leading the charge here, what does that say about the rest of your lineup?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Spencer Torkelson, 28 homers. He's got an OPS of 790. And he's hitting 237. So,
ain't gonna cut it.
I'd venture to say that's probably your next best hitter. Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, who coming into this year, we were not just us, but I think a lot of people were like, is this it for Spencer Torkelson?
Had a great first month.
Yes. I good year
in fantasy.
Good, smart. Yeah. Good year all in all, but again, no disrespect, but I don't think Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson are going to be what gets it done. And like I already said with the staff, it's Tarek Skubal, and then who else?
Right.
So it may come back to bite me. I'm sure it will, but it's kind of where I stand with the Tigers right now. So
yeah.
And then really any other team that currently holds a postseason spot, I by default are in kind of the middle for me.
Yeah.
Are there any that we didn't cover that where you're like, no, I feel this particular way about this team?
Well, I think we got to have a dialogue about the Dodgers. I think like we got to have a stance at least, I don't know.
I guess because it's the Dodgers, but I think we and really the national baseball, media landscape has really beaten the Dodgers narrative to death, where it's like, yeah, okay, kind of limping to the finish line here. They're beating up, they're getting guys back. What will they do? What's a guy like Sasaki going to do when he gets back? They're talking about putting him in the pen because they got 6, viable arms.
I just think
the rotation. I don't know.
I think strictly there's very few times that you can. I can't think of any. There's very few times where you can just like look at a roster and say, I don't care how you've performed this year. When the lights turn on, you're dangerous. And that's what they have. They have, and I think there is a level. I don't know how it necessarily affects guys psychologically, but I think there has to be certain guys that love a blank slate, when they walk into a clean scoreboard in the postseason starts. And it's like, oh, finally, like I don't have to look at that, 222 average or, the 17 jacks when I'm supposed to hit 30. Like, I think there's something that has a little bit of like a reset button. And there's just so many guys that are just so dang good at baseball on that roster that I feel like could do that. And, everyone's talking about how bad the back end of the bullpen is, but like, imagine again, just what that looks like the second you're able to reset that. I almost by default have to put them in the dangerous category because of that.
They've earned it.
Giant. They're a sleeping giant is what they are.
They've earned that benefit of the doubt. It's just that's as simple as you can put it. So
yeah,
I won't personally go there, but I respect your logic in arriving at that conclusion.
Thanks.
Because I think you're right. I think a sleeping giant's a great way to put it. Like this, I think you'd be foolish to just write them off altogether. I'm not saying you're foolish to think that like, this might not be their year, but you'd be foolish to just write the Dodgers off completely, because that's just not how the Dodgers operate. And that's not what they're going to show up to do. So
that's all my argument is.
It's a valid point. I'll hear it. I'll hear it.
Thank you.
Here.
Yeah.
Anything else? I wanted to be a homer and put the Sox in a dangerous category, especially with some of these young arms that they're calling up. I'm curious to see if they play an impactful role in the postseason. But it really just depends on when they're getting Roman Anthony back, because that is going to play a huge factor into, in my opinion, and as to how they do.
Yeah.
But didn't want to talk about it too much at length, so I'll leave it there. But
fair enough.
I think we covered the heavy hitters, or the not heavy hitters, if you will.
Sure.
Closing the book here. You mentioned his name already. Anthony Rizzo retired. 14 years in the bigs. Heck of a career.
Very good career.
Very strange though, given, I don't want to say the fallout, but just the way it kind of, fizzled. You're thinking like, oh, he'll sign like a 1-year deal somewhere, and then, May passes, June passes. It's like, this is it.
Weird.
That's it.
I think it was weird because you've seen, I think, lesser talents have those opportunities.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've seen lesser talents and worse resumes get that extra opportunity, and I'm very surprised he didn't. But I do really, really like the decision to do it. Good, like it's almost like a good for him to not like, I don't want to say like embarrass himself through another offseason, but like there are levels to it, I'm sure. There's a pride level there where you're just like, I don't think I can go through another offseason and not get a call. So,
or let me be a DH for the A's or something.
Yeah,
kind of deal.
I don't. And then you're at this weird spot where like, oh, am I going to turn down this opportunity? I haven't been in the league for a year. Like you have all of these weird narratives. I think it was cool to see. I feel like I would guess he probably stayed in shape this whole year, waited for a call, and
he's been doing media coverage, right? For
it's all on Fox.
Was it Fox? Yeah.
So like, I think it was cool to see that, and I think it's just like, I don't know. I always have respect for self-awareness. I feel like this is a very self-aware decision. Great career.
Great
fan
career.
favorite. One of my like under the radar favorites. I loved watching him. It's just impossible to not root for that
guy. Kyle Schwarber, 50. We already covered Schwarber, but he did notch his 50th homer of the season earlier this week. So noteworthy there. I think I saw, where was it? Joined Ryan Howard as the only Phillies to reach 50 homers in a season. Ryan Howard had 58 in 06.
Dang.
Another milestone, Paul Skeens recorded his 200th K, and then went on to tally a few more on Wednesday against the O's, in a game in which the Pirates would go on to lose. Yeah, had a strong outing, got pulled early just to limit the workload, and then Pirates are going to lose. But hey, got to raise my hand here. Pirates, I do believe went on a run there with Skeens where they were winning ball games that were started by him. So I don't want to, I don't want to just brush that under the rug. Gonna give them the credit they're due there, because we were getting on them there for a while, but maybe back to their ways, maybe with dropping that game. Anyway, don't want to take anything away from Skeens out. 200 Ks on the season in a year that they are very much limiting, like I said, his workload. Like you look at his outings, he's going 5, 6, 7. No, he's not really going 7 all that often, but still suppressive feet for Skeens, and we'll see what hardware awaits him in the offseason. And lastly, couple housekeeping items. Merch reminder, check out the shop, 30take.com/shop. And truly last, reminder about the Keeping Book live stream this weekend. I think Meredith's in. She was like, yeah, I'm in. So we'll order up some grub. Let me know. Send me the bill for whatever you and Paige want to do. We'll do it right. We'll do it big.
She's pumped.
Gonna be giving away.
She did specifically ask, which I think I already knew the answer, but her book will not be on screen. I think that's one of the.
So here's a thought. I mean, I can. I really can. Like, it's not an issue. I can order another one, but I'm also like, what if I just give Meredith, like, you and I can, like talk these things through, and maybe you want to keep your own book. That's fine. But I'm just thinking like, well, maybe I just give her my book and I can be like an extra set of eyes.
Done. Well, but we'll do the same thing. I
Is
forgot
that
you
fair?
didn't have 2 books. Yeah. So let's do that.
I mean, I could, like I said, it's not a problem. I was just thinking like because I know when I was first learning earlier this year, I was having to ask you like, oh, what was that? What was the pitch? What was the count? So if I'm not having to worry about keeping, you know.
I mean, hey, if Meredith is cool with her book being on screen, I don't know if you got to get that green lit.
Might be like a joint effort. I might help fill some things out. But yeah, we're gonna be like Nate said last episode. If you want to learn to keep score, if you already know how to keep score, but just want to hang out with baseball fans, or if you're not interested in learning and just want to hang out,
that's right.
Did I already say that? May have said that twice. If you want to do that, we'll be doing it this Sunday night baseball. Probably 6:45 is the time slot we've been doing recently, just to give ourselves some time to prep the books and run through any questions that people may have. So join us for the last one. It'll be the last one of this year. Obviously with October looming. And we're gonna go out right. We're gonna go Sox Yanks. As I mentioned, we're gonna be giving away.
It's the right way to do it.
Gonna give away some merch. I may even give away this Nolan Ryan 8x10 signed 8x10 by Nolan Ryan. I keep mentioning it. We'll see. We'll see how the people respond. If they're into it, then I may give it away. But if they couldn't care less, then I'm gonna keep them.
That's right.
I'm just gonna give this stuff away just because I say that I might.
It's good that you prefixed it with that.
Prefixed it. Yep. So that's all I got. Anything from you before we hop out of here?
No. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. And in all things, don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.